Hello there. Hello, hello. Is this working?
Is it working?
I think we are live.
Yeah.
Welcome. 8 seconds in. All right. Hi. I'm Chloe, and this is my son Felix, who is here because his papa is off buying a hay baler. So he's going to be doing the Self-Sufficiency pep talk and Q&A with me. And I am a writer and a teacher for Wild Abundance. And in the last few weeks, we've just been getting so many questions about living off the land and gardening. And you may have seen that we put out a little mini class about 10 of our favorite vegetables to grow that will really feed you. I hope you check that out, and I hope it was helpful to you. And yeah, this idea of doing these live Q&As just came to me because I have been embracing and learning and exploring. Oh yeah. Land-based living, and especially around food production. I'm doing a thing and people are watching for a long time. And for a lot of people, all of this craziness, upheaval, change, transformation in the world is bringing your attention to the need to be more connected with the land, the need to be more sustainable, the need to strengthen our resilience as individuals and as communities. And so I thought, hey, I'm no expert. I'm still very much a student and still very much learning, trial and error and experimentation, but I have some experience and I'd love to share it in hopes that it can be helpful and supportive to anybody who wants to listen. So just a quick disclaimer, everything that we offer and this video is for educational purposes only. So, I wonder if I can see if people are chatting me. I don't know how to do this. Okay. So yeah, this is for educational purposes only. I'm not going to tell you what to do or how to do it in your particular bioregion because I don't know all the specific details. I'm just going to give you general information and answer your questions to the best of my ability so that you can feel empowered to experiment on your own and seek out guidance and support in where you're at and just move forward in trying to take a step towards a more sustainable and self-sufficient lifestyle, which I believe is our way forward as a culture, as a community, as a society, as the planet, and our participation in it. And Mom, you may have similar views. Yes, love?
What are you doing?
I'm talking and people are listening, maybe. I can't even tell if they are. Stream health. Let's see. Learn more. Okay. Looks good. Chat? I don't know. Maybe that's it. Oh no, that's a whole different thing. Okay, I'm just gonna go, and I'm gonna hope that you all can comment, and I will see that somehow. Maybe if I do that.
Yeah.
Give me a minute for technical integration here. Oh, there we go. We're thinking of getting around 4 ducks. Is there anything we definitely need to do to make this work? Oh, and there's 25 of us. Thank you so much, Kelly and Stephanie, for being my technology support people. Starting with ducks is a great way to start because we've been raising ducks for a while, and actually there were a lot of questions on the Google form that was sent out in the newsletter, and I think here on Facebook too, about chickens. And I will talk a little bit about chickens too, but I actually have more experience with ducks.
Duck.
So, oh, a raisin. Yum. So, are you, Kelly, going to get the ducks for eggs? Is that your intention? Those are or dual purpose or for meat. So if you have a moment to comment in there and give me that information, that would be great. I keep clicking on the page. It shows you are live, but doesn't show the feed. I'm sorry. I'm very new at this. I will figure that out for next time, but I don't think there's anything I can do about that now. Okay. So yeah, you have a little piece of a walnut skin on your finger. Okay. I love ducks. Yes, totally. Me too. Okay. Dual purpose, mostly for eggs. Great. Yeah, that's the same for us. So we keep anconas. Right now we have 8. And ducks need water. That's a really important thing. You may already know that if you're looking into getting ducks as opposed to chickens, but ducks need a place to bathe. So a lot of people just put a kiddie pool in whatever enclosure you have your ducks in, and that works well, but you definitely have to change the water pretty regularly. They're pretty muddy. They like to splash around any area, especially if they're in a small enclosed. Four is not that many, so you don't need a huge area, but any area that they're in and in an enclosed space they'll make really muddy, and their feet, those broad pads that they have for swimming, are very wide, and so they pack down and compact the soil if they're in an enclosed area. So those are things that you should consider. Awesome. And also, if you're getting 4, okay, you got to be quiet, dude. We're talking about ducks. If you're getting 4, I'm curious if you're thinking to get 4 ducks or 3 ducks and 1 drake. So there are advantages and disadvantages of getting a drake as a male duck. So if you're wanting to hatch out your own eggs, obviously you need a drake. And if you're not, then you can be fine with just the 4 ducks or 4 layers. You definitely wouldn't want to get more than 1 drake with 4. Of course not. That would defeat the purpose of having eggs. So those are things to consider. One of the reasons we like keeping ducks is because we let them free range and they don't mess with the garden vegetables. They're a lot more interested in bugs, and unlike chickens, they don't scratch around. They sort of dibble around with their beaks. And so if you have like a lot of mulch, sometimes they'll kind of disrupt the mulch a little bit, but only in the late fall, when there's not much greenery, there's not much going on, have I had the ducks eat my starts. They've eaten little baby kales and cabbages and stuff. But other than that, they just let the seedlings grow. And that's a really wonderful advantage of ducks. Let me think. For laying ducks, you definitely want to look into getting a duck layer feed, which will be a little bit higher in protein than a chicken layer. And if you don't have access to that, then you can feed them supplemental protein in the form of, they're just like a higher protein. Like we've done in the past when we can't get the duck layer, is to mix a chicken layer with a duck or a chicken grower. So grower feeds tend to have more protein, and you just want to have a little bit. I don't have the stats. You can look them up, like how much protein layer ducks need as opposed to chickens. But we'll see how long this goes with no childcare. So yeah, those are things about ducks. And also, they lay in the morning, and so if you have them free ranging, I have to keep talking, sweetie. Maybe I'll get you another snack. If you have them free ranging, yeah, totally, huge difference with no scratching up like chickens. Stephanie is on board with the ducks. So what was I saying? If you have them in, I lost my train of thought. So there you have it with ducks. They lay in the morning. So what we do is, with our free-ranging ducks, we put them in an enclosure at night to protect them from predators, and then we don't open up their house. So we close them up. We have a pen, and then within that we have a little house, and we close them up in the house at night, and then we don't open the house until about 8 in the morning. They're up and they're wanting to get out before then, but they lay in the morning, and that way we know where all the eggs are. So if you free-range your ducks and you don't have that kind of setup, then they can end up laying in the bushes and the brambles, and you don't find the eggs. So you definitely want to make sure you get them all in one place at night, so that when they lay in the morning, it's in a spot that you have access to and you can get the eggs, because that's the point. One of the points. They're also just really fun to have around. So yeah, silver apple yards, totally. Yeah, we have wanted to try silver apple yards. Stephanie is saying that they're amazing layers and also gourmet meat birds. They're a heavier bird. So we've been wanting to try those for a meat bird, but we just haven't. We have a lot going on, so we haven't tried them yet. But that's cool to hear from you, Stephanie, that you love the silver apple yards. There's a lot of breeds of ducks. The ones that you'll find most commonly, like at the feed store and at Tractor Supply, are called khaki Campbells, and they're just fine. If you want to get into the heritage breeds like the Anconas or the silver apple yards, there's a lot of them, and there are many advantages to them. But the silver apple yards, if that's all you can get a hold of, are just fine. Winter, do you still have a pond inside? Yeah, they still need water in winter. So if you have a kiddie pool, then what you can do is just fill it up with water from inside that is not, if your hoses are frozen, if you live in a really cold place. What we have is a creek flowing through our property. So the creek rarely freezes. But if it's really, really cold and they don't have a bath for a couple of days, they'll be fine. But they definitely need and want to have access to water. And what they'll do if they don't have a pond to swim around in is if you just have a little dish for them for drinking water, they'll swim in that and it'll get really poopy and muddy really fast. So water and mud can be a challenge with ducks if you have limited space. But yeah, they have a lot of advantages too. Watch for eye infection, says Stephanie. You definitely have to watch for eye infection, says Stephanie. We've never had to deal with that, but that's a good thing to look out for. Thank you, Stephanie. So let me, mealworms and red wigglers work well also. Yeah, Stephanie is just joining in here. Yeah, so ducks and chickens, just to get kind of the next layer beyond the basics, are omnivores. So we tend to sort of favor... Okay, I'm going to get Felix a little snack. I'll be right back.
Okay. We let Coyote eat our ducks. We not. We don't let coyotes. We let our ducks get eaten by coyotes. Just
Here you go, my love. All right,
Mom.
Thanks for your patience, everyone. Here you go.
I said,
Did you say hi?
no, I said, we let our ducks get eaten by coyotes.
That's true. We've had several ducks get eaten by coyotes, and we're working on a new pen to try and keep them in. And you would think that coyotes come at dawn and dusk and in the night. That's kind of I don't know what I assumed, but the last one that we had eaten was at 10:30 in the morning, right in our garden. It was really surprising. And the coyotes we have here in the southeast are actually coy wolves. They're hybrid coyote and eastern red wolf, I think, or gray wolf, I can't remember. But they're a lot more daring and a lot more bold and a lot bigger. So that can be an issue. All right, so I'm scrolling up to see other questions. I think that's, if you have more duck questions, put them there, but we're going to move on from ducks for a minute. Let's see. Hey from the Bay Area. Hey from the Bay Area. I grew up in the Bay Area. That's wonderful. Container gardening veggies. Just yesterday, so yeah, you may have seen that free class about our 10 favorite vegetables. And me and Natalie are actually, sorry, I'm kind of not in the middle here. Me and Natalie are actually putting together an online gardening class that will have it'll have foundational videos and then also monthly videos and kind of longer, more in-depth Q&As than I'm able to do just off the cuff here. And I just decided that I'm going to plant a container garden to demonstrate and sort of learn along with folks about container gardening, because I know for a lot of people that's the reality. And
this one.
Yeah, raisins stuck together. 3 of them all stuck together. That's cool. So yeah, so for container gardening, you can grow a lot of food in just a few containers. The kinds of containers that I'm going to get are these fabric pots. They're super lightweight and you can get them shipped and they're really cheap, like a 4-foot by 2-foot by 14-inch deep pot, which is a good size for, a fairly substantial herb garden. You can grow some veggies in that. I'm going to do, I think, 2 or 3 of those for the demonstration for the class. The pot is like $6. So that's super affordable. If you have some other thing around, if you have like an old stock tank or some old wine barrels or something like that, that can totally work. If you have a bathtub, you should make sure to get it checked out to see if it's enameled with lead paint. So anything that you're repurposing, you're going to need to make sure that it's not going to be leaching toxins into your soil or your soilless medium. So that's kind of the next big hurdle with a container gardening situation, is getting the soil. And I'm going to do some research and come up with a good mix, and that'll be shared in the gardening class. But the elements of it, you're definitely going to want some finished compost, because for vegetables to thrive, they need to have organic matter. And compost is really good, rich organic matter that also has a raisin and a walnut. Are you going to put them in your mouth at the same time? Oh, I like doing that. It's like a cookie. Yeah, so compost also has nitrogen, has nutrition for the plants. So you're going to want at least a third of your mix, I would say, depending on your budget. You could go for a quarter if you can't afford that much for the containers that you're working with, but a quarter to a third of your mix to be finished compost. You can buy that in bags at like garden stores. That's going to be the most expensive way to buy it, but that may be what's accessible to you. Also at landscaping companies and some garden stores too, you can buy it by the cubic meter or the cubic yard. And so that's like a big scoop from a tractor into the back of a pickup truck. And if you don't have a pickup truck, maybe you have a friend with a pickup truck, you're going to save a lot of money getting it in that form rather than getting bags. But the bags are also totally, are you going to do it again with a walnut and a raisin?
Yeah.
At the same time? Oh, and crunch it up. That sounds good. So in terms of the other parts of the mix, with a container garden, you don't want it to be too heavy. So if you have fill dirt around, or if you have a place where you can dig a big hole and use some of that soil, that can be fine for part of the mix, but you're definitely going to want to have something that's a little lighter and fluffier. Yeah. Again. Oh, sure. I'll have one. Yeah. You want to share with me?
Both.
Oh. That's good. A raisin and a walnut at the same time. So pine bark fines, which is basically ground pine bark. Again, you can get at a mulch yard or a landscaping company, landscaping like supplier will have that. That's a really good source, again, of organic matter, but it's pretty pH neutral. It doesn't have a whole lot of nutrition, but it absorbs a lot of water and allows for great aeration. Not the most expensive thing. Another option is cocoa coir, which is shredded up coconut hulls. Peat moss is another option, but peat moss is not harvested in a way that's sustainable, and it can be double.
Yeah.
And it can be pretty acidic, so you're going to need to balance it out. In general, I try to avoid using peat moss because it's harvested so unsustainably, and cocoa coir is a really good alternative. And then perlite is another thing, which are those little white, sort of look like puffed rice, but they're actually puffed stone, and they're white. You see them in potting mixes. That's a bunch of raisins. Oh my gosh, all at once. It's going to be high on sugar after this talk. So yeah, those are the kinds of things that you're going to want to put in your mix. And again, I'll post maybe on here and definitely in the gardening class the mix that I come up with that feels like the best mix. And then with a container gardening situation, you can still sow seeds and sprout your own seeds in that mix, or you can buy transplants. And I think one sort of not mistake, but unnecessary thing that a lot of people do with container gardens is get really deep containers. And you probably don't need a container that's more than like, I don't know, 18 inches deep, depending on what you're growing. Because you're not going to be growing like, it's a different kind of culture than growing on a farm. So the roots of it's going to be a higher nutrition mix than soil in the ground. And so you're going to be able to have less root space and still have plants that thrive because you can tend them more intensively. So making sure that your container is in a sunny place. And if you don't have a sunny place, then go for things like lettuce and chard and kale and spinach and cilantro and just generally greens that aren't going to need that sun to sweeten and ripen up. Like tomatoes need sun. I hate to tell you if you have only a shady place, I'm sorry, but tomatoes need sun to ripen. Any of the fruits the vegetables that are actually botanically fruits like tomatoes, peppers, zucchinis, they all need sun to ripen. So if you don't have sun, you can still grow greens, which is amazing. So that's my answer for getting started on container gardening with veggies. And I will dive way more deeply into that in our online gardening class that will hopefully be released in the next couple months, or be started, where it'll be an ongoing year-long kind of mentorship thing. So when will we have the July Women's Carpentry class, we think? I can look that up. Is that not on the website? I'm going to look it up right now.
Mama.
So one of the main things that we do at Wild Abundance is teach these incredible women's basic carpentry. Whoa, handfuls. Oh my gosh, your mouth is so big and full. So yeah, let me just see if it's on here yet. Yeah, so July 16th through July 19th will be the July session of the Women's Basic Carpentry class. barring unforeseen circumstances, as long as it's safe to travel and it's safe to have a group of people outside learning how to do carpentry, then we'll do that in July. And yeah, it's just a fantastic class. I've cooked for it in the past. I don't know that I'm going to do that again this year, but it's fabulous. And if you're interested in coming and you're local or you're able to travel, I really recommend it. Oh, naked butt. Sorry. Rated X. We were jumping on the trampoline earlier. All right. Yes, July. I think we will have it. You weren't even asking the date. Yes, I think we will, but we'll see. Nobody can know what's going to happen here. You want to come back up here and sit?
Yeah.
Okay.
Why?
Can you sit right here?
No.
I'm going to get you some pants. Hold on. I'm going to get my child some pants. You have to wear some shorts if you're going to be up there, okay? Come on back. Whoa. And we're back. Okay. Let's see. Mealworms, red wigglers work well. Oh yeah, raising bugs to feed ducks, totally an awesome thing to do. I've heard in poultry nutrition classes that I've taken that if you go too heavy on the insects, then that flavor gets transferred to the eggs. So a lot of us, self-sufficiency oriented farmers and animal raisers really want to raise all of our own food. And that's something I'm still working on with our ducks. And definitely bugs and raising bugs is a good direction to go in, but they need a varied diet. They can't just live on bugs or on worms. That looks like an external hard drive. I need to give that back to Natalie, actually. Okay. Silver apiards, winter, yes. Thank you so much. Totally. Thank you, Kelly. No, you're totally not overstepping, Stephanie. I'm glad to have your input. And everybody, please share. Like I said, I am still learning, and I just want to do this to have a space where we can talk to each other and support each other. So, let's see.
No, I don't want to get.
Are there any new plants or varieties that I'm excited to grow this season? Let me think about that. I'm trying a couple new pole snap beans just for fun, and also dry beans. Yeah, just sowed actually, which it's very early, but it's been hot here. So I just sowed a big row of a pole dry bean called O'Driscoll that I got from Adaptive Seeds. I love Adaptive Seeds. They're just so great. And so here on my farm, Felix, I don't know what's going on here. You're just watching a belly and hearing me talk, but that's okay. So here on our farm, we have a really big issue with Mexican bean beetles. They come and we've just had them totally decimate bean crops. Like, they're looking good and they're rich and lush, and then it's like every single leaf is covered in Mexican bean beetles. And so our strategy to deal with that pest issue has been to plant really short season beans.
See yourself just right in there.
Yeah, you're right in there too. Really short season beans, like northern varieties that are bred for more northern climates, even though we're down here at like 37 degrees latitude, and those that will germinate in cooler soil. So varieties from England and the British Isles, varieties from up north in Maine, so that we can sow them early and get a crop before the bean beetles really hit a peak in like midsummer. So yeah, just try O'Driscoll's, Jessimino, I think is one. I have a bunch of, I just sort of collect all of the early maturing cold weather germinating beans that I can and try them each year, because we like to eat a lot of beans, and it's just so great to grow that kind of staple crop that's so rich in protein, and we're trying to adapt to the pressure of those bean beetles. Belly button. Okay. Oh yeah, Dirtcraft Organics, local Marshall family soil company, highly recommended. I've heard of them. I'm excited to check them out. So if you're local, check out Dirtcraft in Marshall. Obviously for, what was that person's name? Let's see up here. Raina. Oh no, excuse me, Amrit. That's not going to work because you're in the Bay Area, but I'm sure there are local soil and landscaping like mulch and soil companies around there. I'm sure of it. I mean, absolutely. I grew up in Marin. I'm sure there's something in Marin.
Here's the self and down.
Let's see. Do. She can feel the sugar rush Felix is getting from all those raisins. Yes. Yeah. So 247 Gardens, I think, is the company that we've gotten those fabric pots from. I'm pretty sure it's called 247 Gardens. And yeah, $6. I mean, can't beat it. That's amazing. But I will definitely include that information. And just to talk more about, whoa, here, you gotta get down, buddy. So what I'm planning to do in the course is use all purchased or urban forage materials for my containers. So I'm not gonna say I'm container gardening with you and then use a bunch of compost from the farm and soil that I've been enriching for years. I'm gonna sort of pretend I'm in that urban setting and see what I can do and what I can figure out given the resources that many of you have available, and you don't have a giant farm full of resources like I am so blessed and so fortunate to have. So let's see. Pots, your daughter is laughing. She's getting the sugar rush. Awesome.
No, I don't want you to talk.
We're almost done, sweetie. We're going to do another like 15 minutes. How and when can you register for the permaculture design course? That is so awesome. I'm so glad that you're excited to register. We are actually going to open registration for that with a sale very soon. We're kind of just adapting to what's going on. We really don't want to open more classes for registration that we're going to have to cancel or postpone. So we're just, it'll be soon. And if you're on our mailing list, you'll get a heads up. And here on Facebook too, you'll get a heads up about the sale that we're going to open with and when registration is open. And I hope that by then, the PDC is in September, that things are such that we can gather and come together and learn together. So we would love to see you at the PDC, Faith, and just stay tuned here. It will be sometime this month for sure. Stephanie doesn't care if Felix wears pants. Well, for propriety, I think it's like they'll shut us down if I show a little butt too many times. So, let's see. Quail. I have never raised quail. I know that they can be really susceptible to predation. They're just so small. I know. Just a little bit longer, sweetie. Just a little bit longer. Do you want me to get you some trucks? No. Okay. We're going to, in your tiny sandbox. Do you want that? Yeah? Okay. We're going to get Felix's plastic container full of mung beans and trucks. Dry mung beans. And then he'll dig. And I'll be able to talk to you for another 10 or 15 minutes. Hold on one second.
Hey. And definitely.
Here you go, love. You want to come down here and do some digging?
I need to dig big holes.
Okay. There you go. All right. For quail, yeah. So I never raised quail, and I don't know that much about it, so I can't speak to that other than their eggs are delicious, and I would imagine you have to be really on top of it with predators because they're so small, and keeping them fenced too. So our ducks even get out of 4x4 cattle panels. They can squeeze through those 4x4 panels, so you would need to have some pretty fencing with pretty small openings to keep quails. I think you have one, don't you?
No.
Okay. Digging tractor. Why don't you dig with that big scoop for now, and I'll get you a digging tractor in a minute.
No.
Yep. We'll see if he can survive without a digging tractor. Let's see. Okay. That's all the comments. So I'm going to move I'm going to talk for another 10 or 15 minutes. And if you have more questions or comments, please do share them over there. It's so easy and clear. But we put out a Google form and 115 folks responded with questions. So I'm just going to go through and answer some of those. Ideas on how to slowly increase self-sufficiency into a lifestyle so that it's not overwhelming and requiring purchase of a ton of stuff immediately. Totally. ways to incorporate small changes toward becoming more self-sufficient. I hope that makes sense. That absolutely makes sense. These are anonymous, so I can't say who wrote that, but that's kind of the only way it's going to happen. That's the way that it's happened in my life. And that's the reality for most of us. It's like constantly moving toward that and, taking one step at a time. And so I would say, and maybe I'm a little bit biased because I have been studying and engaging with sustainable food systems for almost 20 years, but food is the place to start, is what I would say. Looking at the food that you buy, the food that you grow, if you grow food, and just looking at the impact of each of those choices. So, for example, when I was in college, I worked with an organization called the Community Agroecology Network, and I got to do an internship down in Costa Rica with a coffee farmer cooperative. So coffee is like a lens that I can see this question through. But if you drink coffee in the morning, that's making an impact both on the people and the environments where that coffee is grown. And so looking at that choice and looking at the options available to you and making a choice to either buy the organic, fair trade, Rainforest Alliance certified coffee that is grown in a way that's actually sustainable by people who are earning a living wage, so that your daily act of drinking coffee is engaging in that self-sufficiency and sustainability that you want to be a part of. Obviously, you're not going to grow your own coffee unless you're in the tropics. Maybe you are. Or choosing not to drink coffee because it's not something you can grow, and maybe it's not something you can afford to buy super high quality coffee. So just going throughout your day, like you can even make a food choices list. Track the food that you eat throughout the day, and then look into where all of that food is coming from. Like not just theoretically, but specifically the particular kinds of those foods that you're buying. And then make choices, if you can choose a more sustainable source or if you can just cut that out of your life. So will make a huge impact, honestly. Yes. What's that? You want to get on my lap? Okay. And then also along with that, with food, eating. Please be quiet, okay? Just a little bit longer. If you keep yelling, I'm going to ask you to go in the other room. Do you think you can be quiet for another few minutes? And then you know what we're going to do? We're going to make tortillas because I bet the nishtamal is done. Do you want to eat some corn and then eat some masa when it's ground? And then squish a tortilla and cook it and have the taco? Okay. Can you be quiet for a couple more minutes until we do that? Thank you. So eating seasonally is another thing to do. So even if you aren't growing all your own food, eating food that's in season is not only more delicious and more nutritious, but also means that your food is not traveling so long to get to where you're at. And refrigeration and storage and transportation of food is a huge driver of climate change. And food processing and food waste are both huge drivers of climate change and social injustices and inequality and human rights abuses around the world. So starting with food is a great place to start. And also just like a really connective, wonderful place to start, because when you choose to engage with a more sustainable food system, it means either growing your own food or connecting with local farmers and gardeners. It's just like, I don't know. Again, maybe I'm biased because this is sort of my passion and life's work for the last 20 plus years, but it's like very rewarding. And I think that's something to take into consideration too in moving towards more self-sufficiency and sustainability, is making sure that you're moving towards something and not moving away from something. So especially now when everything is so crazy and it feels like the systems that we've been relying on are breaking down, it's easy to feel afraid and feel like I need to get out of the way that I have been doing things and that we as a culture have been doing things. And this is what we should, I'm going to get out of it and go here to get out of it. And, I think that's important. And obviously what we have been doing as a culture and as a society is not working, but making sure that we have a vision of something that we're moving towards, and that which we're moving towards is not only just a better choice for people on the planet, but also full of joy and full of beauty and enjoyment. So those would be my suggestions. And let me see.
Get off.
Let's see.
I want to get off.
We're almost done, sweetie pea.
No.
Localized diet, totally. I agree with that. We're gonna do one more question because Felix here has been so patient and his patience is wearing out, and we have to go make some tortillas. Transitioning from the mainstream lifestyle. Yeah, a lot of people are talking about this, making the transition. Let's see. Please don't push that. Please don't. Okay, just a little bit more. Just a little bit more, my love. Okay, I'm gonna put you down. Whoa. I think we're gonna be done, folks. Oh, your arm's tangled up. I'm just gonna close with an answer to that question that came up a lot of times as I was scrolling through those 115 questions from the Google form of how to get started. So I think being here, whether you're here on Facebook Live with me right now or watching this on YouTube sometime later or finding it somewhere down the line. Are you okay? Did you bite your tongue? Is an important part of taking those steps, is a huge first step, is connecting with other people, connecting with community so that you're not feeling alone, so that you're not trying to start everything from scratch, so that you can learn from others' mistakes and others' lessons, so that we can swap and inspiration, childcare, if we're close by each other. Okay, I'm going to say goodbye, and then we're going to go make tortillas. So come back again next Tuesday at 7 o'clock. Hopefully, Kaylin, my partner, will be home, so I can give you a little bit more of my undivided attention. In the meantime, sometime between now and then, we'll post that Google form again so that if you're seeing this later and you have a question that you want to pose, you can pose it, and even if you can't be here live. And thank you all. Thank you all so much. Yes, I am also grateful that this is moving more people in this direction. Thank you all for being here and for being there for each other and keep the conversations going. You know, I think that we have this huge untapped well of creativity within us, and now is the time to release that and share it with the world and share it with each other. So thank you so much. Good luck, everybody. See you again next Tuesday. Bye. You want to say bye?
Bye.
You want to say bye?
Bye.
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 Okay.